Okay, folks, I went live a little bit early. Oh, well, I wanted you to be able to hear the call to prayer from the Al-Aqsa Mosque up there, but I think they literally just finished. Yeah, they were doing the call to prayer up there, so I wanted you to hear that. But I'm a little early. I was planning to go live at the top of the hour, but that's 5 minutes early, no big deal. And there's already a bunch of people watching, so thank you very much. I'm gonna plug in my microphone here so that you can hear me a little bit better if I'm farther away from the camera. I'm here at the Western Wall, which is, hey, how you doing? As you probably know, this is one of the most sacred sites in Judaism, and it is up above there, the Al-Aqsa Mosque over that way. That's the Al-Aqsa Mosque up there. That's one of the most sacred sites in Islam. So this site has been something of a flashpoint for a long time, for obvious reasons. Okay, so I'm gonna plug in the microphone, and so you're probably gonna have to adjust the volume real quick. Hang on just a second. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello, Texas. So I wanted to show you this because there are many of you who have said you've really enjoyed the lives that I do from historic sites here in Jerusalem, because you may never get a chance to come here, and so this is your only chance to really see it. This is a beautiful time of day to be down here. The Wailing Wall, or the Western Wall, whatever you want to call it, is open 24 hours a day, so you can actually come down here anytime you want. But on Saturdays, on Shabbat, you can't film down here. So I'm not sure why that is. You can film anytime you want for the rest of the week, but on Shabbat you're not allowed to film. I'm sure one of the people in the comments will let me know why that is exactly. But this thing was, so it's part of the second temple, the second Jewish temple that was built here in probably about 20 years before Christ. 20 BC is what they say. And this is all that's left of it. This wall, which would have been like the retaining wall. Hey, thank you very much, Margie. This would have been like a retaining wall for the temple, and so this is the closest you can get to touching something that's specifically mentioned in the Bible, that is considered sacred, considered holy. I'm going to put a light on. And the closest you can get to the actual, Holy of Holies that used to be here. So that's pretty cool. To say it's pretty cool is it's almost an insult. I mean, this is sacred and a very, very important place for Jews and even for Christians. Now, Jews like to come here and pray at the wall. I'll try to take you down there a little bit. Thank you, Tim. Try to take you down there in a minute and show you, give you a little closer look. Turn up the volume. Well, it's not really a way for me to turn up my volume. You could turn up your volume, but mine is set correctly. So you're going to have to, yeah, the volume is up. Sorry. There's not really a way for me to change that. Let me see if I can mess with this. I'll probably end up turning it off. Thank you, Mom of 3 boys. Yeah. I can lock it, I can unlock it. Maybe on this end, I can improve I'm not speaking very loudly, obviously, because it's kind of like being in a church here. You don't want to be shouting, right? But hang on a second. Let me see if I can adjust this volume here. I don't know if that helped or not. Can you hear me better now? I don't know if that's going to help or not, but tell me if the volume is any better. Volume's okay. Okay, you can hear me. All right. Okay, very clear. All right, good. So this is, again, the Western Wall, and it is open all the time for anybody to come down here and pray. It's a very, very sacred site, without a doubt. And there are millions of people who come here every year. Of course, there's a lot of kind of friction between the Jews and the Muslims because the Jews want to go up there and pray, but they're not allowed to, which is interesting. I mean, there have been groups of people that have gone up there and have tried to pray silently, and they still get kicked out. I've tried to get into the Al-Aqsa Mosque several times, and for some reason I always show up at a time when only Muslims are allowed to go in. There are times when anybody can go in, and you have to go, I think, around that way and go up that ramp right there to get in there. And there's other entrances, but those entrances are reserved only for Muslims. So there's only one place where anybody that's not Muslim can go in, and I think it's that ramp right there. So, hey, what's up? How's it going? You speak English?
No.
No English? Oh, okay. Huh?
Live?
Yeah, live. Yeah, YouTube. So, again, I would love to go up there, but it's hard. It's hard to get in there. At least it has been every time I've tried. There we go. Got a little light. And anyway, so let's talk about a couple of things that are in the news. First of all, the fighting in Gaza has continued to ramp up. The IDF is fully engaged in Gaza right now. They have uncovered more than 300 tunnels, and when I say uncovered, they found them and then they blow them up. What's happening in the West Bank? The tensions are still very, very high. There was a girl who's like TikTok famous or something like that. She's an activist. She was best known because when she was like 14 years old, she walked up to an IDF soldier and slapped him. And so that made her a hero in the West Bank. She put out a absolutely horrific tweet talking about to the Jews about, we're going to drink your blood, we're going to eat your skulls, things like that. And the IDF went into the West Bank and arrested her. So that's interesting. Also, the head of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, had a assassination attempt on him a couple days ago. I did mention that yesterday. And one of his bodyguards was killed. The assassination attempt was carried out by more extreme element of the radical Islamists, more extreme than the Palestinian Authority, which is already pretty extreme. But he had met with Anthony Blinken, just a day or two before that, and I guess they weren't really happy about that and tried to kill him. There's probably a lot of people that aren't very happy about the fact that Anthony Blinken met with the leader of the Palestinian Authority when they were literally calling for a repeat of October 7th in the West Bank. I went today, so yesterday I asked, no ceasefire. Yesterday I asked my viewers on the CBN Live that I do, you can go over there, I'll be over there live in a little bit. Well, in a couple hours, actually. So I asked them to choose which story I would do today. I had an opportunity to go down to the Egyptian border and report on an aid column that was being allowed to enter Gaza from Israel, not from Egypt, but very close to the Egyptian border. Or I was going to go up and report on the there's a group of American cowboys who have voluntarily at their own cost come over to Israel to help the local farmers who are hurting because they've lost all of their labor, and they they can't harvest their crops. So everybody said, we want to talk about, okay, somebody said lost visual. I hope you can see me. So I went up and interviewed the Cowboys today. Everybody wanted the Cowboys, so that's where I went. And it's very interesting. They're all young guys, like 19, 20, 21 years old. And there's an Ethiopian lady here that's yelling at her kids. Hey, thank you very much, RS. So these guys came over at their own expense for at least a month, probably till the end of the year or somewhere around there. And they're just doing what they can to help the local farmers. Obviously, they're kind of a drop in the bucket. There's so much need, but they wanted to do something to help. And it felt like, you know, a man doesn't complain about it, a man does something to make it better. And they just decided to get on the plane and come over here. So they kind of went viral. Somebody saw them in the airport in, I think, Atlanta or someplace, and filmed them and said, oh, these cowboys are going to Israel. Went totally viral. And so all the journalists want interviews with these kids now. And I got there first. They are out with the HaYovel guys. They have a YouTube channel called the Israel Guys. And you know, I talked to those guys today, and they're like, you know, this is kind of funny because we've been doing this, coming over here and helping the farmers full time. We've been living here for 20 years doing this. And now these guys come over and it just hits just right and they go viral. They're happy about that. They're not upset about it, but they're just like, it's kind of ironic, kind of funny. But so the place where they were working today was on an Israeli farm, literally right on the border with Jordan. I mean, like right on the fence. And they were picking squash and zucchini and cucumbers. And so it was, you know, just a small farmer, not one of these big industrial farms, but just a small farmer that it was going to lose a lot of his crop because it's way too much for one guy to do. But they brought about 15 or 20 people out there and went through, and in a few hours they not only cleaned it out, but they also built a fence around the patch of zucchini and stuff to keep the pigs out. I guess they have a problem with pigs coming in and eating it. Thank you, Sebastiana. So these guys, they're just great kids. I mean, it was so much fun to be out there with them and listen to them just talk about, we want to just do something. We didn't want to, you know, just watch what's happening on the news. We want to do something about it. And that's really what my podcast is all about. This is about not just making the news, but making the news better, making the news good news for people that are hurting here. Thank you, Samantha. And there are a lot of people that are hurting, not just here, but they're hurting all over the world. And I go to 25 countries a year, and we help those people wherever we find them. So I wanted to mention, it's later on tonight on my YouTube channel here, I'm going to put up a video from my wife Connie talking about a couple of people that we got to help in our little hometown there in Panama because of your donations. A guy that was blind or is blind and just needs cataract surgery to correct it, and it was going to be a couple $1,000 bucks. And with the donations that we've gleaned from the Hot Zone, we were able to restore his sight. And we have a video of him being told that he's going to get the surgery, and he's just beside himself. He's just in tears. It's really cool. The other one was a lady who has been terribly sexually abused, and we got her into a program that will help her deal with that trauma and get over that. So, you know, we're finding people wherever we go, and when we find people that are in need, we do what we can to help them and not just tell their story, but if we tell their story to you in this medium, you can reach through the camera and you can help them yourself, and that is pretty cool. Okay, I want to talk about the topic of this live tonight, which is is Hezbollah planning attacks on the West? The answer is yes, and they are. I'm just gonna. I don't normally make predictions. I don't like to make predictions. There are 1,000 things that could change tomorrow that would completely change the whole game. But I'm going to make a prediction that within the next 6 months, we're going to see a terror attack on the West in the Western Hemisphere somewhere. Hezbollah has a vastly, very fast growing influence in Latin America, and I'll talk more about that in a sec. But because they have this influence in Latin America, they are planning attacks on Jews, and because they're so inflamed about what's happening here in Israel and in Gaza, they are planning attacks. There's no question. And how do I know? Well, because one of them was just foiled. The Mossad, which is the spy agency here in Israel, helped uncover a ring of terrorists in Brazil yesterday who were planning a terror attack on Jews in Brazil. And it helped them foil that attack. So that's one example where it just happened. It just literally just happened. And they saved some Jewish lives by working with the police there in Brazil to get those people arrested. Now, I can guarantee you there are more cells across Latin America and even into the United States who are right this minute planning attacks on Jewish synagogues, on Jewish schools, on Jewish people. And you're going to probably see them in Europe as well. This has really inflamed the tensions and the anger between Hezbollah and Hamas and Israel. So let me carry you down here, and while I talk about this some more, I'm going to turn the camera around here and let you see, so you don't have to see me. You can just see the Western Wall here. Now, if you look right straight ahead, there's a line of white umbrellas that are closed, and that flag right there, the Israeli flag, and they are, those umbrellas are there because there's a fence there. To the right of that fence is where the women can go to pray, and to the left of the fence is where the men can go to pray. They can't, there's no mixed prayer at the Western Wall. Now, I'm not sure how close I can get down here without getting yelled at, but we'll see what I can do. Maybe I can get down and show you over the fence. So there's the man's side. I just want you to be able to hear. Oh, sorry. What year was I in South Africa? I think it was 2019 I was there. There's the women's side over there. Pretty cool, huh? So this is your chance to see the Western Wall. If you never get to come here yourself, you're welcome. That is pretty cool. Those stones are huge and must have been unbelievably difficult to place. But the temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. So it stood there from about 20 BC to 70 AD, only about 80 years, I guess, if I get my math right. Now, there are places right over there where you can get up on like a overlook and see the mosque, but it's hard to get up there. You got to walk up all kinds of stairs and go all around in kind of a labyrinth of of passageways and stuff like that. Is that a bridge? No, that's a ramp. I'm not sure what bridge you're talking about. So anyway, I'm going to go back up here where I'm not kind of in people's way. You can see a lot of people here who are carrying weapons right now. You go over here. There's a guy right over there by that fountain who's carrying a M4 or M16. I see a lot of people like that just sort of wandering around carrying their firearms now for obvious reasons, and especially down here because this place is actually pretty dangerous. Not right here where I'm standing because you have to go through like airport security to get in here. But the rest of the old city, where you have to walk through to get down here, is actually pretty dangerous right now because Arabs and Jews can mix in there, and they've had several attacks in the last few weeks in here. Just a couple days ago, there was a policewoman who was stabbed and murdered by a Palestinian woman who was also killed in that exchange. So it's kind of dangerous. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not like if you came down here, this is the thing, like I really don't want to just make it sound all Hollywood or something like that. I want to give you a real sense of what's going on, but not an exaggerated sense of what's going on. I'm obviously wandering around down here. There's a lot of security. You can see there. There's a lot of troops, and those are IDF, but there's a lot of police down here. So there is quite a bit of security. And like I say, especially in here, there's a lot of security because this place is a flashpoint, right? Like a major flashpoint for, problems, right? It'd be easy to have problems down here. Folks, if you want to follow the rest of the journalism that I'm doing, I mean, as far as my books and I've got 10 books in print, I've got 65 documentaries and all that stuff. I'm putting stuff up on locals.com. So just go to chuckholton.locals.com and you can find me there, and I'll put all kinds of other stuff up there. I'm going to start we're getting quite a few people. Hey, thank you very much, Anita, and I think Tim, maybe. Thank you for that. I'm going to start putting more stuff up there because we're getting a lot of people following over there too, so stay tuned. I also wanted to just mention while I've got you that we are going to run a tour to Armenia in June of this coming year. Armenia is a wonderful, wonderful country that you definitely want to see. The reason that you've never heard of it is just because it's been in the former Soviet Union for 70 years, up until the 90s, and so it's been coming out of that. But it is a fabulous country. It's so beautiful. It's very safe. It's very cheap. And the people are wonderful. The food is great. So we have been running tours there for a couple of years now. They've been very popular. And so we're going to do another one in June, the 6th through the 16th of June. And what you can do is you can go to, hey, thank you, Herman. That's very kind of you. You can go to the link tree that my wife is putting up in the comments here, which is just linktr.ee/Holton, Holton. She'll put the link up there in the comments. You can go there and you can find a link to go and register and sign up. We're not going to take a huge group, and so the space is limited. We've already got, I think, maybe 10, 11, 12 people that are going, 13, something like that. So we're going to spend 10 days in Armenia, and you will never forget it. If you support Israel, because you're an American Christian and we're commanded to bless Israel, if you support Israel in this war, you should be supporting, thank you Storm Chaser, you should be supporting Armenia as well, because they're the world's oldest Christian nation. There's a ton of biblical history there, so it's kind of like the other Holy Land, and it is it is worth supporting because they are also being attacked by Azerbaijan in a similar way to what happened here in Israel on October 7th. There have been lots of atrocities. There have been reports of beheadings and things like that, also in between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Armenia is safe. The country is safe. The place where the fighting was going on was out on the border, about 4 hours outside the country, inside Azerbaijan. So, you don't have to worry about your personal safety. And of course, if you're traveling with me, our the unofficial name of our tour company is Safety Third Tours. So we'll have a good time, I promise. And we run it with military precision, I promise. So go and register if you want to do it. You better get signed up quick, because once we fill up a bus, then we're going to have to, if there's enough people that want to go, what we'll do is we'll start another tour maybe in March or something like that. So if you're interested in more information, again, go to that link at Linktree. If you have any comments, specific comments or questions for me, remember you can always email me at at hotzoneholton@gmail.com, hotzoneholton@gmail.com, and I will do my best to answer your emails from there. Okay, so I want to talk more about Hezbollah in Latin America. Hezbollah has always, for decades, has had a presence in Latin America, and a pretty big one. They have even committed some terror attacks in Argentina in 1994, in Panama the day after the one in Argentina. They blew up an airplane. There have been several terror attacks like that that were carried out by Hezbollah in Latin America. So they definitely have operatives there. Venezuela is an absolute hotbed of Hezbollah terrorists. It is their former vice president, his last name is Assimi, is a Hezbollah operative. I mean, there's no, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that. He is a spokesperson for Hezbollah in Venezuela. He's also heavily involved in the drug trade. He's also heavily involved in lots of other organized crime. And this guy, Tariq Assimi is his name, is a really bad dude. He's been sanctioned by the United States. He's on the most wanted list, and so he can't travel to any place that has a treaty with the U.S., but he can easily go to Syria and Turkey and Russia and China and Iran and places like that. Guy's multi-millionaire from all of his illicit activities, and a lot of that money gets funneled to Hezbollah to buy weapons and help build tunnels and bunkers and things like that. Little girl waving. Is there a little girl waving? Hi. It's funny how people see me out here, out here doing this, and think I'm somebody famous, and they come by and they stare at me and sometimes want to get in the shot, but that's the way it goes. So I am concerned that Hezbollah will attack Jewish interests and American interests in, hey, thank you very much, Sellsworth, in the United States specifically, and in the Western Hemisphere generally. I think it's a very likely thing in the next 6 months that happens. We have some, there's no question. There are big problems ahead, because there will be people who want to take retribution for what has happened between Israel and Gaza. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what's happening on the northern border. There have been a lot of rocket attacks up there, and thank you very much, Marie. There have been a lot of rocket attacks across the northern border, and Israel responds in kind. That's been going on for some time, but it's kind of ramped up even more. A U.S. representative of the Biden administration went to Beirut yesterday and met with the leaders of Hezbollah. I guess I'm not shocked, but it's pretty disgusted by that. Now, maybe they were just going to tell them, hey, knock it off, quit shooting rockets. But I doubt they were going to threaten them. I guess there must be somebody famous here, because he's the guy in the wheelchair. Everybody's like hugging and kissing him, and they must be somebody important. Hezbollah has been, of course, attacking more and more, and for a representative of the Biden administration to go and meet with the leaders of Hezbollah and kind of try to do it secretly, thank you, Kim, is absolutely unbelievable. It's just like, holy cow, what are we doing here? Thank you, D'Angelo, very kind. So what do you think that they talked about? What do you think he said? Do you think he went and said, I'm sure he didn't say, hey, good job, you keep doing it. No, he didn't say that. He probably went and said, hey, you guys need to knock it off, or chill out or whatever. But the simple optics of him going and meeting with the leaders of a terrorist organization, and especially doing it in a way that's kind of under the table, is pretty mind-blowing. It's just like, holy cow, what are we doing? Do I think that that's going to reduce the number of attacks? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But it didn't today. They were shooting from across there today. And from the south, they are still shooting rockets, but the frequency of the rockets coming out of Gaza has declined noticeably over the last day, the last 24 hours. Thank you, Tara. The frequency of those rocket attacks, especially like long-range rocket attacks out of Gaza, have all but stopped. Hey, thank you very much, Susan. They have, what does that say? Well, I guess what it says is that, I don't think it says that they're running out of those rockets. I think it says that they've they're getting hit hard enough now by the IDF that they're going to, they're too busy fighting for their lives in there. And probably those long-range rockets will take a lot more time to set up and to aim and things like that than the short-range rockets, the homemade ones. The long-range rockets are more likely to be the ones that are given to them or sold to them by state actors like Iran. And again, they're going to be a lot more complicated. Thank you, Frederick. They're going to take longer to set up and aim and all that. And they just don't have that much time because Israel is bearing down on them with drones and things like that. And they are not able to fire those longer range rockets. Now, I wanted to mention also, there was a drone attack today in Eilat. Now, if you look at your map, Eilat is far and away the other direction. Thank you, Tanya. Is the other direction from, somebody said, do I think the hostages are still alive? I think some of them are still alive. I think they may have tried to smuggle some of them out in the stream of refugees that was allowed to go down that humanitarian corridor. But it's hard to say. I'm sure some of them have probably been killed as they've been blowing up these tunnels. But they've got them all spread out. So they're likely that many of them are still alive. And wow, thank you very much, Monica. So a drone, and I didn't read if they know where the drone came from. if it came out of Gaza or out of Yemen, which it could have come from Yemen, although most of the things out of Yemen, thank you CJ, have been shot down because it's got a lot farther to fly. They've got to fly over Saudi Arabia, a bunch of U.S. ships in the Red Sea out there. Whoop, just cut out for a minute. So there's a good chance that, okay, I'm getting disconnected here. Am I back? Okay, I was disconnected there for a second, but anyway, suffice to say this drone attack in Eilat hit I want to say it hit a school or something like that. And the problem with that is there's a ton of people in Eilat who are survivors of the attacks from October 7th. These are people who were there, who were on those kibbutzim in the south that saw their friends being murdered. And so they're extremely traumatized, and they've been sent down to Eilat because it's about as far from the war as you can get. There have not been missiles fired over there very much since the beginning of the war, and it's a nice beach resort town. If you've not been down there, it's real nice. I've been scuba diving down there in the Red Sea, and it's beautiful. Connie and I went there on the Egyptian side at Sharm el-Sheikh last year and stayed a night or two on the beach. I'm not a big beach guy, but it was very, very nice, and we enjoyed it. It was good. If you like the beach, it's a good place to go. Anyway, there's a lot of people there that survived the attacks that are there trying to overcome their grief and deal with what they've seen. There's a lot of counseling for them and stuff down there. And so you can imagine a drone attack on Eilat made everybody's stress level spike, and a lot of people had to be treated for panic attacks and things like that. Not cool. Okay, wow, I guess we just got a bunch of comments. So let's see, I think that's about all I've got. If you have any questions real quick, put them up. I'll give you a few more seconds, and for those of you that weren't here when I went down there a minute ago, I'll carry you down there so you can see the Western Wall one more time. Again, on the right are where the women pray, and on the left are where the men pray. I'm not going to carry my camera inside there. I don't think they would let me do that, but I can go right here and I can show you the wall. As you probably know, the Jews like to write their prayers down and stick them into the cracks in the wall. And so you go down there and there are just tons of prayers that are rolled up and stuck in the cracks. And that's kind of fun to do. A lot of people do that. And I will probably do that after I get off of this live with you guys. So, yeah, if you haven't had a chance to come here, it's worth coming to Israel to see this. This is pretty cool. Any word on the hostages? No word on the hostages that I know of. The death toll on the IDF side, the number of soldiers that have been killed, is now in the low 30s, like 32, 33, something like that. Am I going to a lot? Not this trip. Maybe when I get back here. I've got to leave for a couple days and go back to the States for a speech, and I'll be back here in about a week. And so tomorrow I will come to you from, hang on. Tomorrow my plan is to leave early and go to Jordan, go cross the land border into Jordan. And I want to show you this guy. This is what you see a lot of. This guy's carrying their weapons around like that. Yeah, guy right there. So next week I will not be in Israel. Next week I will be in Panama and in the United States for a few days, and then I will come back here to Israel. Okay? So again, thank you for all of your prayers. Thank you for all your well wishes. And thank you especially for the people who have donated. All the donations that we collect on the Hot Zone are going to help people. I'll be in Texas next week at the Alert Academy giving a speech. And so if you're near Big Sandy, Texas, come out and see me. All the donations that we collect go to help people in the places that I go. We, again, just gave some money to a blind man to get surgery so that he could have his sight restored. And so here's my question for you. For this 1,800 or so people that are watching, would you like me to continue doing these lives when I get back to the States and when I'm down in Panama on the topic of the day, which might be about immigration, might be about the war in Israel, and just depends on what's going on. But these things have turned out to be very popular, and so I'm happy to keep doing them, and we can keep discussing the news like this in this format, and I'll carry you around with me and go live from wherever I happen to be. If you'd like to do that, or like me to do that, say so on the comments, and we'll keep doing it. So, okay, looks like, yes, continue the lives. Okay, all right, good. All right, well, that's all I got. I've got a live hit on Newsmax here coming up in a few minutes, so I got to get going. But God bless you all, and if you are so disposed, go over to CBN News YouTube channel. Hey, thank you very much, Bethany. Last minute donation right there. Go over to CBN News YouTube channel, and in a couple hours I will be going live there from a different spot. So I'm not sure if I wanted to walk through the old city, but I don't think I can get a good enough connection the whole time, because some of it's like tunnels and stuff that really blocks the cell signal, and I think it would drop out. Excuse me. So anyway, go over there. I'm going to be doing another live over there with some more updates. And God bless you, and thank you for watching. We'll see you later.